has decided to take action. She is going to shut a section of the Wheatfield stand. This is a statement released by Anne Budge today. During the course of last Saturday's derby against Hibernian, no less than 7 pyrotechnics were discharged, thrown onto the pitch, 4 from the Hearts area and 3 from the Hibs stand. In addition, there were instances of coins being thrown, cups, some containing hot drinks being thrown, and even a coconut being thrown onto the pitch. Since a number of the incidents mentioned above emanated from the lower section G of the Wheatfield stand, I have given instructions to close this section with immediate effect. Season ticket holders within this section will be offered seats elsewhere in the stadium for the remaining 2 games of the season. I apologise to any innocents who are caught up in this. Well, earlier on in the season, I actually had a one-to-one interview with Anne Budge, and she mentioned that she wanted the club to take action, and she was looking for the authorities, and I'm talking about the police and, of course, to a lesser extent, the stewards, to try and highlight the fan misbehaviour.
As you know, the stewards get a lot of abuse. Oh, they're not doing anything. Well, the stewards are there to get people safely in and safely out. It's not their job to go in there and start, arguing with, or fighting with supporters. But I do want the police to support us in every way they can. We need technology. We're looking at the moment, as are a lot of clubs, at upgrading the quality of our CCTV to try and cover, if not every inch of the stadium, as much as we sensibly can, so that we can more readily identify the people who are causing, the ringleaders, if you like.
Well, she's promised to take action, and she has.
Yeah, it's action. That's what we want to see. We want to see all the clubs doing it. But I have to say that I think Hearts have been to the forefront of stamping out anything to do with a club. She's acted very quickly, and then this has happened around the stadium. And let's hope that other clubs follow suit.
Yeah, well, we've had action from Motherwell. They've highlighted the 2 fans that threw missiles that narrowly missed James Tavernier. We've already witnessed another fan, again with James Tavernier involved, who was jailed for 100 days and banned for 10 years from Easter Road. We have had a number of instances of fans bringing in flares and firecrackers. The clubs are taking action because they want to avoid any legislation or possible strict liability, Gordon. Hearts, Hibs, Motherwell, should the other clubs now start to follow suit? And I'm talking about the bigger clubs. Is it time for them to come out and take action as well?
It certainly is. It's time for all the clubs to act upon it, because as you said before, you mentioned the fact that the government could get involved. They've already said that they might come in unless they see the clubs taking, I would think, appropriate action here. So what happened is the clubs, in my opinion, it should be divided. There should be still, strict liability should come in when it's a big, large group of fans who are actually acting on it, say a pitch invasion or inappropriate singing, whether it's sectarian songs or anything else. Just that's when strict liability comes in, because that's the way, for me, that'll stop that. But see, when it's individuals doing things, then I don't think strict liability should come in. Individual acts should be dealt with by the club, and if it's illegal, the police should come in. The stewards are there, as mentioned there, the stewards aren't there to arrest people and take them out, but the stewards can identify people, tell the police, and depending on what these people are doing, you also need good high definition cameras in order to identify them, because you see when people are doing things that are wrong, it's all filmed as well, it's all recorded, so they can go back and identify who these people are, and exactly as they're doing now, ban these people from football. And if it's inappropriate, have them arrested. If it's illegal, but if it's not, at least ban them.
Yeah, I think it'll be difficult at times to actually, start to really have an iron fist towards maybe fans who have sung something in bad taste or are shouting things in bad taste and poor taste. I wonder where the line is here, but I would like to see it the same way as Anne Budge, which is, family values and decency among supporters, especially towards any players on the park. As Gordon says, if it strays into sectarianism or racism, then by all means. Leanne Dempster again has mentioned the fact they're going to invest heavily in CCTV, better quality pictures that they can identify identify these fans who are basically hooligans. And over and above that, Ruffy, I think there's a suggestion of sniffer dogs to come in and try and look at fans who are maybe bringing in flares and possibly drugs, which opens up a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, but it makes these people more aware of what's going to happen. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, if you're going to a football game, we want people going to see a football game. We don't want them with anything else on their mind. And if they certainly know that there are sniffer dogs or whatever put in place to stop them, it just puts them on their toes. And they might be the ones that would stop going to football games because basically they're just going for trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your view on it across social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course on YouTube as well. It's the burning issue. It just seems to quite simply dog our game from one day to the next. There's so many different areas where some fans feel it's justified to bring flares into the ground and firecrackers and let them off. I don't think there's any justification for it going to watch a football match where you can, let something like that off and not potentially do damage to someone. Although interestingly enough, and I'm not in any way trying to diminish our responsibility here, but across Europe, there are some supporters and some sections of fans who really actually go way over the top, Gordon. I mean, we'll have to look at last night's game, Ajax against Juventus. I think it's anything between 120 to 140 arrests, fighting, and a section of supporters from Italy guilty of bringing in, weapons that you should not be bringing to an event like a Champions League quarter-final.
That's why I think if there's a group of people like that, a larger section of the fans, which is not just individual acts, then I think the club should take a responsibility for that, and the club should be in trouble for it, because these people are following them, and in order for them to know they are damaging their club, then they have to stop doing this, because otherwise the club gets punished. So that's terrible. It is across Europe. I mean, you see a lot of them, even the singing of the sectarian songs and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
And also basically other bad things that they come out do at matches and all that sort of thing. There's racism as a big factor in some of these.
You would like to see at home, though. You've mentioned the fact that you'd like to see points docked for clubs.
Yes.
I think we're treading dangerous waters there, are we not, Gordon?
Not if it's a large group of fans who will not stop singing those. So how dedicated a supporter are you when you know if you sing these songs, your club's going to be docked points? I think that will stop them. I think the only way to improve attitudes is often to address behaviour.
But a lot of fans would say the percentage of people who decide to sing these songs in comparison to the good supporters, there's no way you should punish the entire club for the conduct of what. I can't quantify it, because I know some people watching the programme will hammer me and say I've witnessed whole stadiums singing songs.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing about it is, if it's a large group of people, if it's a section, maybe you might even say they see themselves as the main singing section of that club, then you got to say to them, you have to stop doing this because you're damaging your club. You're also punishing the majority of people, because the majority of people's team are getting punished for it. I think that's the only way forward, is to actually dock the points from fans from the clubs where the fans are doing inappropriate things.
Okay, it's an interesting one. Would you be in favour of a section of fans who are misbehaving? Suddenly the club has to pay the penalty in points. Give us your view on that as well. It's amazing that we've almost dedicated the full first half of the programme to clubs taking action. Does it need to be more clubs, including the bigger clubs, taking action? Okay, coming up, we'll be looking to the Scottish Cup semi-finals, looking back at the Champions League after the quiz question. Talking about football on the pitch is what we like to concentrate on more often than not, and of course the Scottish Cup semi-finals are coming up, but going into these games, all we seem to have is discussions over who potentially could be the new Celtic manager. Of course, today we've witnessed a situation where Graham Shinnie has been photographed at Derby County. He's not going to be involved in the semi-final at the weekend, but is it the time for talks like that? Should he have been spotted there, Ruffy, in the build-up to the semi-finals? Or is it just a case of Graham has to look after himself rather than worrying about the timing of it?
Yeah, I'm sure Derek McInnes, so he may not be happy with it, but I mean, he'll be completely focused on the game. I don't think he'll want to comment on anything that's happened in these pictures. He'll be completely focused on the rest of the players who are playing in the game. And he's a free agent. He can do, in this day and age, the players seem they can do whatever they like, and with their agents. And that's all he's doing. He's just using the rules to his own advantage.
Yeah, I look at the squad, and again, Derek McInnes faces a rebuilding in the summer. He's got more immediate thoughts on the Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic on the Sunday. But when you hear Scott McKenna saying that he wants to leave Aberdeen a Scottish Cup winner, now that suggests to me that he knows he'll be on his way out in the summer as well.
Well, he's on the contract, so I think the bid would have to be right. And I think Aberdeen, they're a club who have to be sensible about it. If they get good enough money in for a player, big money in, they have to think about it, because the player will want to leave. They can't hold on to him these days in terms of, a player's not going to be happy if a club keeps him there. But they can then look for a replacement. They got him in. I mean, he was out on loan. He's only come through in the last couple of seasons. Before that, he was a bit more or less ignored. He was out on loan, wasn't he? Was it Arbroath he was at?
Yeah. Ayr.
Was it Ayr he was down at? Yeah, that's right. He was down on loan. So the thing about it is, you've got to look at it and say, well, he's come through late and he's made his mark in the game. So, and all credit to him, I think they might be looking already to see who they would replace him with.
Yeah, Derby, good move if Shinnie takes it.
Oh, I think so. I think we just keep hearing about the Championship. There's so much money down there. There's so much on offer for these clubs to get into the bigger league, and they just throw money at them. And I'm sure the wages will be quoted down there will be much, much more than Aberdeen.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, because social media is so immediate, the newspapers, I'm not saying they still have an edge to them at times. They still lead public opinion to a lesser extent, I think, these days. But when you see on the back pages suddenly over a 3 or 4 day period in the lead up to a Scottish Cup semi-final, I always think they choose their time carefully on this. We've had Roberto Martinez, we've had Andre Villas-Boas because he was playing golf, I think, with Dermot Desmond. You've had Rafa Benitez. Obviously in the mix is Neil Lennon. It goes on. Suddenly, one day they're in, and the next day Martinez says, "No, I'm not interested in the Celtic job." That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I think people try to build it up, Peter. But I think that from the point of view, I mean, some people are saying it, and it might be the case that Neil Lennon maybe has to get the treble in order to get the job. Because they say that that's what Brendan Rodgers was bringing in, a treble. But I think at the end of the day, I still think Neil Lennon is the right man for the job. I really do. I think he knows the club well. He knows players well. He's taken over a team that is actually Brendan Rodgers' team at the moment, but that team were not as good as they'd been in previous seasons.
Yeah.
So he's struggling a little bit with them, and I think he'll have his own ideas about who to bring in, who to recruit. So I think Neil Lennon is the right man for the job.
Yeah, Roberto Martinez's agent released this statement as soon as he became odds-on favourite. Roberto always seems to be on the shortlist as soon as there's a vacancy at a big club, but this is a false rumour about him going to Celtic. It seems to have come from the fact Roberto has a Scottish wife, and he obviously has ties to the country. However, there's nothing to see here, and I would suggest the bookies review their odds. Even if Roberto Martinez didn't have a Scottish wife and maybe had even a Scottish terrier, he'd still have been linked with the job, Robbie, because that's the way they do it. Sometimes they just, all right, let's pick 5 photographs of people who are either in a job or potentially heading out, like Rafa Benitez, and 2 and 2 makes 5. I agree with Gordon on this. If he delivers the treble, I think Neil Lennon, box seat, he is the favourite. He remains the favourite for me.
Yeah, and more than anything, he's the fans' favourite, or the fans, majority of fans' favourite, and I think that's what got him a job in the first place, and I think this will be what will get him at the next time as well. Obviously if he wins the treble, I just think that, as Gordon said, he fits the bill, he fits the Peter Lobel remit. He's not going to go in there demanding £10 million players. He'll know the kind of player that Celtic needs, and he's got a fair young players there breaking into that team in the next 2 or 3 years. All you've got to do is build round about them.
Yep, absolutely. Here are the odds as it stands at the moment. They change every day. Remember, at the end of the next couple of weeks, Rory McIlroy could be in the running for the Celtic job. Martinez was quoted at 5-4, Lennon 9-4, Villas Boas at 5-1, Michael O'Neill the other day there in the paper 6-1, Rafa Benitez at 8-1. Listen, the names will go on and on and on. One day they'll be red hot favourites. The next day we'll be shooting them down. From there. Of course, we've been talking about players that potentially could be going out. Scott Arfield scores a hat-trick and immediately Southampton are linked with him for a £3 million move. I'm sorry, but that's not happening. It
was unbelievable, there wasn't it? I mean, a lot of people were saying he hasn't really established himself at Rangers. As you said, then he got a hat-trick, a very good hat-trick. He took his goals well, I have to say that. And he was a player who was definitely coming on as a young player. I remember he was getting a lot of publicity then. If this had been 10 years ago and you'd said Southampton were going to come in and pay $3 million for him, I would have said, I can imagine why. But I think at this stage, I'm not sure that would be a deal that's going to happen. Yeah, okay. Scottish Cup semi-finals coming up. If there's unruly behaviour off the park, on the park, worries for Craig Levein. Slowly but surely, John Robertson must be saying to his players, listen, Hearts are there for the taking on Saturday at Hampden. Suddenly, Ikpeazu and Peter Haring now major doubts for the semi-final. Naismith not available either.
Naismith's out. Gordon, I think, Inverness must be looking, thinking, this is there. I think so. You know why? Because they'll be underdogs as well. The thing is that most people will be saying, well, Hearts should win that game. Hearts would be favourites and all that. And that's why Inverness can go into that game and relax a bit too, because the pressure's on Hearts. Yeah, I'm going to the game, Ruffy. I think I'll be there for quite a while. I've got a feeling it could be extra time, possibly penalties.
No, I don't agree with you in this one.
No?
I know Inverness have had a fantastic season. We've played them 3 times already this year at Partick Thistle. I just found when we played Hearts, there is a level. There's a level of a pace, and I thought their strength was a way better than ours as well. We began to manage them after a while, but I think Inverness early on, I'll just get a wee bit of a fright with the pace that the Premier teams play at, and I've said already, I think that wee boy Mulroney is having a fantastic season. I think he could cause them a lot of trouble.
Okay, so you're going for Hearts?
Yes, I am.
Yep.
I would say Hearts are favourites, but I think it's going to be very tight, and I think if Inverness were to win it, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Hearts should win it. Yeah. Who do you think will win it? That's different. I think Hearts or Inverness will win it. Okay. You're getting to that point.
How could one person cover three bases?
Gordon can do it, by the way. He's now part of a clutch of pundits that come under the term useless when it comes to offering an opinion on who they think's going to win it. I think Inverness are going to snatch it just because I think there's too many crucial injuries. What about Celtic Aberdeen? Celtic could win that. Aberdeen might win it. There could be a draw and it could be extra time and penalties.
It could be, but I think Celtic will win that game. But I think that I think it will also be tight. I think Aberdeen will begin into that game a fair bit of confidence of late. But I think Graham Shinnie being out is going to be a loss to them. Just out of curiosity, if you think Celtic will win that game, who do you think will win between Hearts and Inverness? I think Celtic will win the league as well. Yeah, okay. And Inverness, I think,
useless. Gordon, Ruffy.
I have a guess. The thing is don't know an answer to that. Who's going to win between Manchester United and...
In your opinion, who do you think will win?
In my opinion, Hearts.
Right, okay. Ruffy?
I do think it will be tight, Gordon. I think Aberdeen will go there. Young players with confidence, the season they've had. But I think Celtic have the big players and they'll win the game.
Okay, thanks for that. Ruffy's going on holiday, by the way. Ajax Juventus was 1-1. Scott McTominay I thought was great for Manchester United. They never had a shot on target. Barcelona still cruised it and they were only in second gear. Absolutely. I mean, Barcelona were getting criticised for it, but I have to say that definitely I thought Barcelona, not maybe at their best, but still were the better team. And I think that, you wouldn't write Manchester United off yet because they might play better away from home, which they have in certain European games so far. Yeah. Just briefly, Ruffy, if I was Alex McLeish, I'd be building that Scotland squad around McTominay.
Yeah, I think the more games he gets in that Man United first team with these big players that they've got, we can only benefit that in the long run.
Agreed. I think that's well established them, that last performance last night.
Yep, absolutely. Well done to Scott McTominay, not so much for the team. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed the programme. It's all about opinions, eventually, when we get them out of them. Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow. Alison McConnell will be joining us as a replacement for Ruffy, and obviously on the show we'll be looking to those semi-finals.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.